Yes, we are back with yet another exciting episode of Fly on the Wall. My name is Duke Mwisigwa, and today we also have again our man on the show, Aldrin Sobga Senior, Mr. Fly on the Wall. Aldrin, it's a pleasure hosting you today.
Nice to be back. Let's see what happened last week in the world of sport.
Yes, Aldrin, as we start off with local sport, Vipers, our champion in Champions League, they outplayed. Their chances of qualifying in Champions League are totally out of question. They can't come back.
They can't. It's very sad that the Ugandan champions have not scored a single goal yet in the Champions League, including 2 games against Simba, who are supposed to be like our brothers because we are neighbors. We play the same football. Our football is in the same region. Considering that Uganda is ahead of Tanzania when it comes to national football, it's a shock that we can play against the champions of Tanzania and we can't score a goal, and they beat us both home and away. I know that the opposition from Morocco probably a bar too high, but the questions for me that arise out of this begin with: is it about the coach that Vipers recruited? Can we continue giving an excuse of time? He needs time to get to know the players. He needs time to know the system. He needs time to choose his first team.
Understand the league.
He chooses time to understand the league. Is that good enough for a professional coach who you are paying lots of money to take this team or club to the next level? I think it's time we stopped looking at it that way, because Vipers has gotten elevated to the level where we are supposed to discuss the club alongside continental champions, continental powerhouses. It's not as though we are talking about a Bull FC or a UPDF FC. So I've been thinking about it and I'm saying, no, something is terribly wrong. If you look at the players at Vipers who dominate in terms of squad, the national team, every time the national team is called up, and they're all Vipers players. Now you are forcing me to question, why would I call any striker from Vipers if they're playing continental football
and they're failing to score
the highest level of football, tough competition, playing against the best players, they can't score a goal? It makes me question the creativity. The players at Vipers, whom we call creative, is it a problem of creativity? If you call up those players in the national team and you want to give them first team football, what do you base on? And that's what Vipers must start looking at. Because what will happen, as we all know, the Cranes is soon to be summoned as we get ready for the next campaign of AFCON
qualifiers.
So what happens if the players are called up but they're not selected to start, or they are put on the bench? The Vipers fans, we fans who just take it as an automatic thing that these Vipers ought to be in the first team, what argument will we put out? So beyond Vipers performing very poorly on the continent, it does affect the national team selection and, who knows, performance.
Aldrin, when I was following on Twitter, nalabenga Lumas David ku Twitter handle yagenze n'agamba kiki kikugira mu bwongo nga welaba Lawrence Mulindwa nanyini club has injected out of money and some resources nenga results tezijja nga gwe expert kyo nzo gamba omuntu akola beyo nti nanyini Vipers Lawrence Mulindwa akole ki kubanga adesemu sente results tezijja.
It's a catch-22 for Lawrence Mulindwa. Everything he's doing is because he has big dreams. I talked to him, by the way, about 3 to 4 weeks ago about Vipers. And in that conversation, I tried to probe to understand his vision for the club. I enjoyed our conversation.
Well,
it was very clear to me that the man has big dreams. He has so much conviction, so much faith he actually told me he thinks by the time he brought in this coach, he believed he was very good. His CV was convincing to him. Obviously, the results now and the performances of the team seem not to agree with his
vision and
analysis. I pity him because all he's doing is good. He means well for the club. He means well for the football team. Individually, I am beginning to question the system of selecting which coach for Vipers. Who are the experts and the technocrats who help him to identify or to scout for a coach? What is the basis? Because it doesn't matter what the argument is. Football, for a club with big dreams like Vipers, if the results are not there, and here we're not talking about results in the sense of very good football, winning every game. I know they had a much improved performance, by the way, against Simba.
They played very good football.
But at the end of the day, who remembers performance in the Champions League? You want a goal.
Results matter.
Yeah. So I think for me, if I were him, I would get back to asking, am I recruiting coaches the right way? Is my club recruiting players the right way? Because it does not make sense. I look at Vipers this season in the league as well. At least if they were playing much better in the Star Times Uganda Premier League, I would understand if the results and performances in the Champions League are taking longer. But where you have our defending champions not playing as well in the league, and definitely not as well in the Champions League, they are not scoring at all, that's a different scenario altogether. And I won't be afraid right now to arrive at the conclusion that two things are wrong at Vipers at the moment. The recruitment and scouting policy for both coach and players. I see a lot of the players at Vipers, they keep tweeting, updating us, and you can see they love their job. They love their roles at the club.
Yeah.
Carissa is very good at updating and tweeting. And it's good, it's all nice. My question is, are they as anxious as we fans? Do they think about the club performance and also put themselves under spotlight, under scrutiny, and say, but guys,
we need to deliver.
We need to deliver. I'm not so sure. I don't know whether they are burdening themselves with that load in their heads. So, man, the Vipers question is a quagmire. It's really a conundrum.
Odin, if you want to look at this thing in the broader context, we want our viewers there to understand. Vipers is one of our biggest clubs in the country. Can we try to put them on the same level with Simba in terms of capacity, in terms of resources, in terms of players? Because when you might be playing in an inferior league, when you go the other side, those guys are already big that level. Can we put Vipers, OKCCA, the level of Mamelodi, because they're going to play with Mamelodi, they're going to play with TP Mazembe, they're going to play with Simba, in terms of capacity, in terms of scouting, in terms of technical, the technical team and experiences?
No. Unfortunately, no. That is the reality. In terms of the status of the clubs and club football, no, you can't.
You can't.
Just taking the Tanzanian Premier League as an example. This is a league which is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, not tens of millions. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. That's the worth
their league.
Of the league. Many of the clubs, on their own, they are also worth hundreds of millions of dollars. This Simba, Yanga, way above any club in Uganda in terms of the value, book value, in terms of the level of professionalism, administration, management, the way it is run. the money that they attract from sponsors, the experience now that they have in playing in continental football over and over and over again, the competitiveness in the league, the players they buy, the quality. I mean, it's at another level. So, unfortunately, we can't. Whether we want to use that as an excuse not to do well is another matter. But I think if you're Uganda, and Uganda has been ranked higher than Kenya and Tanzania for years, and it is Uganda who seemingly are very good at youth football. We are in AFCON, we are in CHAN, and
because
our colleagues
have the
are
talent.
not. It means we have the raw material. It means we have the basics. Without money, we have the raw material. We have the players, we have the quality,
but
we have the
value
technical
addition, that raw material.
But yes, the value addition. So what is the missing link then? Is it the money? We just said Mulindwa has money for Vipers at our level. He can afford a professional coach. He can afford to bring in players. But is it enough? Or is the money being used wrongly? That is now my question.
Your question.
The problem may not be the money, because at our level that money is enough, we're seeing what it's doing. But is it being used in the right way? What do I mean? Bringing in the right caliber of coaches, bringing in the right caliber of players. Is it used in the way it should be used? So for me, if Vipers is our template and our flag bearer as the champion and as a club that has infrastructure that we all admire and even doing better, they've just recently installed night lights.
Yeah.
I think I'll go back to the drawing board. I engage probably fans representative, if I'm Vipers, engage shareholders, and really dwell on this question, what are we doing wrong? Because something is definitely wrong.
Should we still give the coach some time, or he needs to pack and go?
That question is for Vipers. That question is for Lawrence Mulindwa, doctor, who recruited him. I don't know what his targets were. I don't know whether he was using this first period as a transitional period, because if it's transitional, you let him be. But if you wanted results, and that's the terms of reference that was given, then hard decisions would be taken. My only concern for me is taking long. It's taking long. I can't see Vipers in the next 1 month. I can't say what they're going to be, because I'm not seeing anything in terms of progression. So, like I said, the management and ownership of that club needs to sit down and rethink what they're planning for the club.
Results are not coming.
Because results are not coming, the football is not good, it's getting worrying. And I think it's time to address the issue.
Even in the league where they are, our local league here in the UPL, they are not.
And it's clear they may not defend their title. Other clubs look more ambitious. I don't know whether you are focusing too much on the Champions League, that they lost focus in the league. But I think for me, I would go with the performances and say, no, this season they're just not good enough. They are way behind the standards they set themselves last season, and something must be done. Talking about local league, me as a Villa fan, we are moving with our head high. We are flying in colors. Our rival, Express FC. Any victory over a derby rival is and must always be celebrated. So congratulations, by the way. Yes. Because wins over your rival are good, even when you're not competing for the title. Rather lose to Bull, but not lose to Express. Exactly. I know the rivalry between Express and Villa is hot. Yes. It is Villa that was born out of Express, so that will never be forgotten. But for Villa, significantly, that win brings them closer to actually the title race. We are in title race. You are in the title race. Yes. No one thought you would be at the start of the season. Yes. Teams are not consistent at the top. Bull FC has recently had mixed results. Yes. Vipers are having mixed results. So now it is between the guys who are a bit more serious now. KCCA are hanging in there. Villa are now increasing the competition there. Wachiso lately has also fallen by the wayside. So I like Villa's win because now it adds to the seriousness of the title race. KCCA, Villa, and of course, Vipers still not worked out. There's time for them to come back and give us a race. So for me, the race is still on. But for Villa, yes, any win over Express is good enough. And congratulations to all Villa fans. It was well worth it. Yes, SC Villa Jogo, Twasodo Kuba, Express Ewayo. My name is Duke Mwesigwa. Have a lovely time.